All right, so now I'm going to do a little demonstration on a 2D array. Now these things kind of are a little mind-boggling when you get started, so I hope to make this easy and understandable for you. I'll be coding in Java. I'm using the repl IDE online, and so yeah, here we go. Let's get started. So a 2D array is basically a 1D array with arrays in each kind of slot of the array. So if we think of an array as a bunch of little containers, like if we had an array that was 10 long, it would have 11 little characters or little compartments, and each compartment is going to have another array inside of it. So that way we can traverse across, and then we can traverse down into that also. So what we have to do to get started is first we have to declare. I'm just going to use integers in this example. So we're going to declare an array. The normal way to declare an array would be like this, with only one pair of brackets. But since it's a 2D array, we have two pair of brackets like that. I'm just going to call mine array number 1. And let's see. We'll just set it equal to 0, 0 for now. Okay, so yeah, oh, we have to new this, I'm sorry. New int array 0, 0. So size 0. Now this left bracket, pair of brackets, is going to be in charge of how many rows there are. So if I want there to be 5 rows, then I would put a 5 in there. If I want there to be 4 columns, then I would have a 4 there. So if I ran this, we wouldn't really see anything right now. Ta-da! Except for the little title there. But we'll get into that in a moment. So let's go ahead and we'll start off with like kind of the first example here. So I'm going to just create a function to give me back an array, just to kind of keep our code a little bit organized. So static int, we're going to be, the type is, it's going to be returning a 2D array, just like that, of integers. So I'm just going to call this one example1. Terrible name, I know, but that's really what this is, just an example. So I'm going to pass it the how many rows it should have, and I want to pass it how many columns it should have. So there we go. We'll do that, and then we're going to return an array. So I'm just going to call this int. We just created a 2D array like this. I'm going to call this one new array and set that equal to int or new int, and then we're going to use the rows here, and then we're going to use the columns right there. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to actually just return that guy like that. Okay, so right now he's pretty much got nothing in it. But now I can take this here and turn it into example1, and then I can pass it. It's going to be, let's just make our first one a 3x3 2D array. Okay, great. So now we kind of like created it technically, but there's really nothing inside of it to see or do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize this this array, this 2D array, with column numbers and then column numbers and then row numbers. So, and we'll do it just like this. So start with a for loop. Okay, so we're gonna start with for, you know, the typical I equals 0. So we're gonna start at the left. So what I want to do is start at the top left of this 2D array, and then I want to go across it and change all those current values, which I believe are set as null. And then I'm going to go down it and continue to change all those numbers so they're not null anymore, but so that they are actual numbers. And we'll have a nice example at the end of this. I'll show you in a moment. So I is less than, let's do rows, because this first loop is going to take us down the rows, and then the next loop inside is going to take us across those rows into our columns. So we'll just go I++. Fantastic. So now, now I want to change my, let's see, we're calling it new array. So we're going to change the first value of each row to reflect the row number that we are on. So we're going to have this guy here, and then since we want the first column, we're just going to hard code a 0 right there, and then I. Okay, so that should put in the row that we're on in the first place of each row. Okay, so it might resemble a little bit of a spreadsheet. So now we're going to go into the columns. We're going to go int, j, why not, right? J is less than columns. Now we're going to go j plus plus, and then great. So now let's change each value in the row, but we don't want to change the first one because look, we already changed the first one. So I'm going to actually change this 0 to a 1. So we start on the second location in that array that we're inside of now. So we're going to go my array or new array. Let's go with I. We want the I location, and then we're at the J location, which is our column right now. And then we're just going to set that equal to J. Okay, super simple like that. And then we're just going to return the array. Okay, great. So now there's a special way. If I were to print this out, and some of you may have run into this before, but if you're kind of new to this stuff, then I wanted to point this out, that if you just straight up do a system out print line, then you're going to get the memory location, memory address of where your 2D array is sitting. In fact, so this is running on a server with repl somewhere, and this is the location on their server of our array. Wow, that's not very helpful for us. So what we need to do is we need to actually iterate through this array and print. We need to go to each individual spot, look at it with our code, and then say, hey, print whatever's in this slot. Okay, so what we're going to do with that is we're going to just kind of scratch that for now. We're going to do that with a loop. Okay, now these loops are great. So we're going to do for int. So the first thing is that we are going to loop through each row and then print out each value in the columns. Okay, and that might make a little more sense once you kind of see how that works. So here is I'm just going to get a row from my 2D array. Okay, so I'm going to call this I'm just going to call this one, well, we could call it row here actually. So, and then my array's name is array1. So cool, there we go. Now I need to go through each column and print that out. So for int, we're just going to call it num, inside of my row that I'm currently on, then I'm going to do my, the casual system.out.print, and we're not going to print a line, we're going to print that out. And so we'll just do num plus, and then just add some spacing in there. And because we want it to look like a grid system, then we're going to do system.out.print line right there. Cool. So that should do the trick. Let's give this a run. Okay, cool. So yeah, notice how we had passed it 3x3 2D array. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So look at that, it's a 3x3. Now it starts at 0 because that's just the way computers are. They start at 0 instead of starting at 1 like we typically do. Okay, but notice how my column numbers are going down. So here's my row numbers. So here's my first row, which is 0. Here's my second row, which is 1. My third row, which is 2, etc., etc. So just another way to prove to you that this first parameter, this first spot right here, is going to be changing how many rows there are. I'll just run that again and change that to an 8. And while that's going, ta-da, okay, we have 8 rows now. Okay, so I'm just gonna take that back to a 3, and then I'm gonna turn this into just a function here. So we're just gonna cut that out of there, and then I'm going to come down here actually and change private static. We're gonna return nothing, so it's gonna be void, right? So I'm just gonna call this one print. My print array function is gonna take in a 2D integer array. And then I'll worry about naming that in a sec. Just paste that in there. I think it's called array1. So I'm just gonna call this array yeah, let's call it array 1 for simplicity. Okay, great. So that'll do all my printing for me. I'll just do print array, and then I'll pass it. Yep, array 1. Thanks for updating that for me. Cool. All right, now what I want to show you is like another way to kind of, what if I don't really care about initializing all these as something specific? In fact, I could initialize all these as 0. If I just like, I could get rid of this. We could just comment that out real fast. I could change this back to a 0, so that way we get catching all of the columns, and then we'll take that and slide it over to 0. Should get all zeros if that's what you wanted in your array. Load, ta, cool. But I don't want that, so I'm gonna undo this. Great. Now, let's create a sum function. So there's something cool that I want to show you with the sum function. So let's go here. We'll just kind of make some space. Private static int. Oops, that's not how you spell it. And then we'll sum this up. So it'll sum an array up. So we're obviously going to have to give it its own array to sum. So I'm going to call this one array. And we'll just do a little curly brace right there. Fantastic. We'll return the sum. We have to declare what the sum is. So sum is an integer starting at 0. Great. Now what we need to do is loop through both rows and columns. So we'll just kind of do what we did previously. So int, we'll get the first row or a row, and then it's called, see one sec. Okay, so we have that, and then we're going to do, this is called my array. And then what we'll have is another loop inside of that just goes through all the integers inside that first row. So let's see. We'll just call this one B, you know, why not? Of A. And then we'll do system. Well, hold up. So then we're just going to do sum plus equals, we want to add B to that. So yeah, cool. Return sum. Come up here, just print out that sum. So let's system.out.print on a new line sum array of, let's do, we need to give it, let's just example 1, or example 1 array. Okay, let's give that a run. See how we're doing. Okay, we got an error. Let's see what's up. So it's telling me that on line 8 we have an issue. System.out.println. It's probably something to do. Well, we have our example there, and then we have summary. I cannot find the symbol. Example 1. Interesting. Okay, he's got his arrow on example 1 for some reason. Oh, duh. Okay. Array 1. Okay, cool. Sometimes it's staring you in the face and you just don't know it. All right, cool. So our sum of this is 12. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, great. Yeah. So that summed it up perfectly. Okay. So I hope that kind of made sense to you today. What we'll be doing is, yeah, so you can kind of just print stuff out. This is kind of how you iterate through an array, sum it up. This is how you can kind of initialize it. This is how you create it. You can also put strings inside of there. Like, it doesn't have to be an integer in an array. So just give it a shot, do what's best for you and what you need to do. Great. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.